Welcome. On behalf of the faculty, staff, administration, and the Board of Governors, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our annual retirement and farewell reception. It is wonderful to see so many saints here today, from current and former faculty to parents and alumni. I'm especially honored to welcome the family and friends of our honorees and our beloved former head of school, Joan Holden, who is here with us today. I invite Father Kavanaugh to open us in prayer.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. God, in the course of this busy life, give us times of refreshment and peace, and grant that we may so use the gift that you have given us to rebuild this world and to renew the minds of those who are hurting. Be especially today with Diane and Jean and Marsha, who have given all that they have to this school, who have given their talents, all of their mind and all of their soul to making this community what it is. Be with them in this new phase of their journey. Send them out with peace and good health. And above all, help them and all of us to continue to bring renewal to this world, especially remembering the children and those whom God has called us to build up and to make better. Amen.
Today we celebrate Diane Dunning, Jean Lynch, and Marsha Way, who have given a combined almost 100 years of service. We are so blessed by the time they have given to us, and they will always be considered saints. We hope you will come back often. Many times throughout the year, I've had the wonderful opportunity to share with parents of alumni, and future saints' families what it is that sets our school apart from others. What makes us special? Who are we? What are we at our core? I share stories about our students, about their achievements in the classroom, on the stage, and on the fields. I commend our brilliant and talented alumni for their tremendous and successful careers, for the goodness infused in the work and in their everyday lives. And behind each and every one of these students and alumni, between each of our saints, stands a teacher who has given of themselves selflessly and unconditionally to the well-being of that student. A teacher who has paid attention, has cheered from the sidelines and the front row, and has gone the extra mile, taken the extra step to ensure that each student is known and appreciated for their unique and remarkable gifts. Today we honor 3 of those teachers, dedicated lifelong educators who have been constant and reliable sources of encouragement and goodness during the journeys of countless students. It is my honor to share a few words about each of them today, and in addition, I have asked members of our community to speak on each of their behalf. I will begin with Jean Lynch and end with Marsha Way. Jean joined St. Stephen's in 1984, and in 1988 moved with her husband, St. Stephen's graduate Glenn Rowinski, class of 70, to Europe for his military assignment. In 1997, she returned to St. Stephen's and St. Agnes and has been a valued member of our art department ever since. During her time as a saint, Jean has been an upper and a middle school visual arts teacher, an advisor, and director of Middle School Extended Day. She has served as a member of our middle school scheduling committee and worked with students on their senior projects. Jean's passion for art has driven her work at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. Her love for art has connected her with students outside of the classroom, and many have found her studio to be a place where they can find peace and place for reflection. Sophomore Bateman Solms remembers one particularly difficult math exam in 8th grade that left her upset and frustrated. She shares, "After the exam, I walked straight down to the art room. Mrs. Lynch let me paint for hours until I felt better." Middle school director Charlotte Riggs, herself an artist, says Jean's passion for art and for art education are so evident in her lessons as she truly inspires her students and motivates them to produce their best work and to like art while making it. She can be found sketching colleagues during meetings while listening or decorating the walls of her art room with examples of her latest project. Jean's creative touch and vision can transform spaces. Charlotte shares that every year for the Middle Ages Fair, you can find Jean dressed in an elaborate costume reflecting the time period and culture of a region, along with a spectacularly decorated middle school gym that is Jean's brainchild. Jean, you have enriched the canvas of our school with your compassion, talent, and creativity. We are grateful for your service, and we will miss you. I now invite Reverend Michael Hinson to speak on Jean's behalf.
By the way, that is her original work there. She is an artist, so I want to lead with that. Jean, I have you front and center here so I can check and see your reactions. She is an artist in the truest sense, and what I'm about to say, I can guarantee you most of it, well, I'd say 95% of it happened exactly. I may embellish a little bit, but I'm going to give you what I'm going to call frames of Jean. Frames of Jean. The first is what I call the parking lot encounter. I didn't make this up. A number of years ago, in fact, I think it was Gail Wolf's car that had a problem with the back light. There was water, it's pretty high. Some of you have seen the water sloshing around the back light of the car, and before you go spend $2,000 to get that repaired, you might have someone like Robert Davis to go to who just happens to have a drill and an idea. And Robert said, no problem, water water there, we'll take care of it. And we literally did go out there. I was supervising and observing mostly, but Robert drilled a hole in it and let the water come out and had a hair dryer. And so as we were doing this, Jean came along. And she was obviously curious, what's going on here? Why are you drilling holes in the light of this car? I still don't know why we did it, but it did. And Robert's done it several times. But she began to take a look at it, and she noticed it was working. And as we were talking about it just the other day, I was laughing all over about it again, because from weeks, and I understand Joan is out there today. Is Joan out there somewhere? Okay, Joan, I didn't know you were going to be here, but I've got a line for you. So we kept joking about what was going on in the parking lot and this unusual behavior of draining bulbs and things like that. And we kept picturing the idea of finding a Jonogram coming out shortly that said something like this: Jean Lynch, Robert Davis, and Michael Hinson will no longer be employed here due to problematic parking lot conduct. It happened, I promise. Robert, are you in the house? Where's Mr. Davis? Robert still does this procedure, but I also understand from Glenn that, quote, nobody's touching his car with that thing, or something like that. So, shifting gears to something that is much more serious. 9/11/2001 was a very difficult time, continues to be a difficult time for all of us. And I remember we were gathered in the lower, at the bottom floor there in the building, in the middle school campus, and we were all shoulder to shoulder, and I see Shirley, she's right there with me, and it's unfolding the trade towers, the Pentagon. And one thing Jean has always done is she's had this way of remaining calm even when things are crazily falling apart. And one thing she did that day was shared her telephone with several students whose parents either were going to be at the Pentagon or had some association with on that day. And over a period of time, there were several students who made contact with the parent. And it helped bring their anxiety down a little bit. That's the kind of thing she often does. She sees a need, and she does it. Next frame, the artist and nature lover. We have many courses at the middle school, and right before spring break, some of you know about this, we have these courses. They're really different kinds of learning experiences where you might go overnight, or you may go look at some ball fields or do service. And one of our famous ones that's quite popular is hiking. And as it turned out, Jean apparently had these recordings of nature that she had recorded out somewhere. And she brought it to the supervisors of that mini course, and that was Catherine and Den, and she gave it to them and said, when you get out on the trail, it's going to be really loud, but I'm going to let you listen to these. You might want to have the kids listen to these sounds before they go out there to get some sense of what the surrounding will be. And so she gave them that nature recording. G, next frame. Open house, open table. When a holiday approaches in her neighborhood, she's quick to invite someone who is struggling a bit. Maybe someone who's had someone ill in his or her family. Maybe someone who's lost a loved one. Maybe even a child who's lost a parent. The fellowship starts at her table, but it doesn't end there. It starts with great food and conversation, but this relationship she has or develops with that family or that individual or that young person continues as she kind of adopts them or they adopt her, probably some of both. And there are such individuals right now that she stays in contact with that she has really served as another parent. Next frame, Jean, the steady and patient guide. And I promise I just watched this the other day. I observed this as she had some 6th grade students in her lab. And they were all really close together. I mean, really close. And she was demonstrating something and talking about it. And they were hanging on every word. And after she completed that demonstration, she said, okay, you know, we have the whole lab. It's okay to go out there and work. They just kind of sat there and looked at her like that, you know. And she said, hey, you can spread out. You can go over there. So at that point, but the funny thing was they were so comfortable, they were just going to kind of work on top of each other. She had to almost force them to spread out, young 6th graders. Jean, extended day master. If you don't know about extended day, it's an interesting part of our school program, and I have been involved with it with her some, so I know exactly what it's like because I've been there. And what she has done, she's taken a program that if a student is not able to go home at 3 o'clock or something like that, drive to stay for a couple hours, sometimes 2 or 3 hours, it's a long day. It's a long day. It's a long day for teachers, a long day for students. But she has crafted, in extended day, a careful balance of homework, gaga ball, movie time, social time, and yes, popcorn. All of those together. Knowing they have a long day, doing all this with grace and humor, even when tempers can get a little irritated at the end of the day. There's never any doubt that she has their best interest at heart. In fact, I have a statement from a parent right now, a mother of one of her extended day students, that reads as follows. As a working single parent, I just want to thank Jean for running the extended day program at the middle school. I truly appreciate Jean's skill at getting a group of tweens to not only get their homework completed, but also to enjoy some time outdoors before they're picked up. I hope that Jean enjoys her retirement, travels the world, and creates some wonderful art. Now, you might wonder how she stayed so cool all these years and didn't lose it. I have the solution. She gave me that solution. Last frame is Jean and the silent scream. Yes, you heard me. The silent scream. David Kane, longtime educator, apparently shared this with her back when they worked together. Not that middle schoolers can't test you from time to time, but on those particular days when things were just falling apart, Devin Kane would come up to her and gesture, I'm not making this up, it's for real, would gesture something along these lines. And I suppose Jean, returned with something equally. And she said that helped. The silent scream. The hormonally impaired were getting the best of her, resort to the silent scream. And apparently, she still does it. So, Jean, next year, if my students see me engaging in this kind of activity, I'll have to explain where it came from. Whatever it takes to thrive with middle schoolers, you did it. You still have what it takes, but you don't have to continue to do that. because you're taking steps in a different direction. The last frame is Jean and her spirit. You're an educator, an artist, a wife, a mother, a lover of wonder and observation, a devoted Christian. For sure, you've helped shape many who have come through our halls. Blessings to you, your family, and those you love. And as you begin anew, I'm sure your next chapter will be creative, and we would expect nothing less.
Diane has been an integral and beloved member of our admissions office, leading with grace and compassion. She has a deep connection to the community and has a profound impact on her colleagues and Saints families whom she's gotten to know over the years. Ron Ginyard says about Diane, she possesses the unique talent and strength to lift up her colleagues, our students, and their parents, while through empathy sharing in their stress and their burdens. He says, I will forever be grateful for her leadership, her confidence and faith, and the teachings of small details that make a huge difference in the world of admissions. Diane represents all of the qualities that we desire to instill in our students. She is a true saint and a true legend. In 2013, Diane was honored for her work in admissions when she received the William B. Bretnell Award for the Secondary School Admission Test Board. This award is given every year to a leader and educator who has made significant contributions to the field of admission. For decades, Diane's commitment to diversity and equity has been at the center of her career. In 1993, Diane, along with Roger Barbie, introduced to St. Stephen's and St. Agnes, the student-led organization, NCBI, a program designed to bring students together who might not necessarily connect in other ways. In 1991, she partnered with Barbara Patterson, then director of the Black Student Fund, to develop the Group for Raising Racial Awareness and Shaping Perspectives, and was later awarded the Salon Candage Award for Excellence in Cross-Racial Communications from the BSF. In 2005, St. Stephen's and St. Agnes received the 2005 Latino Student Fund Education Award. The president of the Latino Student Fund honored Diane with the following statement. While this award reflects the great work of St. Stephen's and St. Agnes School, it is specifically honoring your personal commitment in support of the area's Latino community. Alumna Lakeisha Bankston Glover shared, people come in your life for a reason, season, and some stay for a lifetime. I will never forget the day I came to St. Stephen's and St. Agnes for my initial interview and met with Diane Dunning and Tim Doyle. Right away, Diane had a warmth about her that made me feel comfortable enough to share just why I would be an asset to this new school. After joining the Saints community, it was Diane Dunning who I found to be one of my biggest cheerleaders, confidant, and family. She knew then, and even now, how to speak into my heart during my triumphs and trials. She has carried me in her heart, and she in mine. Diane gave me my first tour of St. Stephen's and St. Agnes during the interview process, and I knew that in that moment I was in the presence of greatness, or should I say, goodness. I was certain that I wanted to work with Diane Dunning, and I'm so privileged that I've had 4 years working with Diane. It has been one of the greatest gifts of my career. Diane, thank you for the countless ways in which you have enriched this community and changed the lives of our students and faculty. We are all so grateful, and we will miss you deeply. I now invite Tim Doyle to speak on Diane Dunning's behalf.
When I asked Diane's team to share some reflections of their time with her, Catherine Carbo, the director of lower school admission, told me what she would miss most upon Diane's retirement is hearing the classic greeting when she answers the phone. Hello, Diane Dunning. That greeting has echoed the halls of Lloyd House for the past 4 decades. There's that voice, the welcoming, filled with soothing calm, the perfect introduction to our school community. How do you begin to put 34 years of someone's life into context in just 10 minutes? Clearly a monumental task, so in full disclosure, I've reached out to many others who have come to know Diane through the years to help with this tribute. I must also note that in my 14 years as Diane's associate in the admission office, I have far too many stories that fall into the laugh out loud, make you want to cry funny category. Unfortunately, those cannot and will not be talked about today. Where'd I point this thing? Thank you. A Philadelphia girl born and raised, Diane has always loved learning. After earning her undergraduate degree from Temple University and then spending 2 years teaching science to inner city kids in Philly, Diane accepted a science position at Germantown Academy, just north of the city. During her 10 years at Germantown Academy, Diane earned her master's in environmental science and is where she met her husband, Frank. The world of independent school admission intrigued Diane, so in the fall of 1984, Diane put on her administrator hat, becoming the director of admission at St. Agnes School. Diane has told me many stories of her early days as an admission director, and the pace was quite different then. It was just Diane and her assistant, Debbie Keller, who is here today, in a tiny, cramped office, and she actually had time in the morning to glance at the Washington Post and enjoy a cup of coffee. Now, Diane took on this role, as she does with everything she touches, full of purpose, passion, and compassion. We all know of Diane's signature attention to every detail, and this trait was quite evident in those early years. It has been told to me that the expected date for one of the birth of her boys was quite close to the date of the admission decision letters to be sent out. This perfect storm of due dates occurred, and as Diane was wheeled into the delivery room, she called to Frank and said, "Don't let them send the letters out." Her team heard the message from Frank the next morning and held the letters for her final approval. Yes, a funny story, but it's one that is just so Diane. Because to her, every admission decision was important, every child's application was precious. It had to be perfect. The merger of St. Stephen's and St. Agnes was a unique and exciting time in the life of our school, and it's when I first met Diane. Back in those days, there was no internet. Email did not come to our campuses until the late 1990s, and we needed a way to communicate and share ideas, so the Pony Express was created to carry documents, announcements, and messages to one another between the various campuses. In an effort to expedite our communication, we all began to sign our initials at the end of the document after review, and this carried over to all of our communications. So Diane Dunning became Dee Dee. Still today, a group of us from the merger here still refer to one another, not by our first names, but rather by our initials, which is the reason for and the story behind the buttons that I had made and that you all are wearing today. In the years following the merger, Diane led her A team, yes, even her team had a nickname, with a vision for what our school could and would become. When I reflect back on our time in the school's history, in essence, we were basically talking to prospective families about a school that in reality did not yet exist. With a growth plan established by the Board of Governors, Diane's efforts allowed our school to grow from 950 students at the time of the merger in 1991 to 1,150 students by 1998. 200 additional students in just 6 years. That's an extraordinary achievement. Even more so in all of our 34 years, never once has Diane and her team not met an enrollment goal, and often they have exceeded it. Diane's commitment to the world of independent school admission, the demographics, the statistics is second to none. At the beginning of every school year, the faculty would wait in anticipation for the admission year in review presentation by Diane at the opening faculty meeting. where she would effectively and always with a creative flair highlight the latest national data as it applied to our own school. As Joan Holden said, Diane has always had an uncanny ability, through careful research, hard work, and creative thinking, to stay in front of admission trends. The A-team would watch Diane spend weeks preparing her report, and even when she had access to a computer, Diane went old school. Writing out her presentation longhand, with highlights and notes off to the side. Time and again, colleagues from independent schools around the DC area described Diane as genuine, incredibly knowledgeable, and always, always prepared. Yet Diane has never relished the limelight, rather preferring all the harder work behind the scenes. Charlotte Nelson, who was the director of admission at Potomac School, noted that Diane is a strong introvert in an extrovert's job, which means she is the most active listener in a group or conversation. Is it no wonder why she understands others so well? Jenny Rideout, the former director of admission at St. Andrew's Episcopal School, called Diane the consummate professional and said, "I don't believe I ever saw her ruffle." Andy Farquhar, director of admission at the Murray School, said Diane was a terrific mentor to so many in our field. She was a quiet leader, and like E.F. Hutton, when she spoke, we all listened. Her leadership style and lack of arrogance allowed those around her to grow professionally. Certainly, the admiration and respect that her fellow admission colleagues had for Diane made her a sought-out resource for advice and counsel as she was asked to present on issues of diversity, admission and financial aid at VAIS, NAIS national conferences, as well as the Secondary School Admission Test Board. For years, Diane was the co-chair for the AISGW Admission Steering Committee, bringing pertinent nationally known speakers and creating current program for the DC admission directors. As Kirsten mentioned in her remarks, Diane has also been recognized by the Black Student Fund, the Latino Student Fund, and most recently, SSATV's Brent Knoll Award, which is given to a leader and an educator who's made the most significant contributions to the field of independent school admission. Diane has a magic way with a family, a connectedness, if you will, especially with those who are unfamiliar to the world of independent schools. Always speaking from her heart, sincerity and an honest approach were the perfect introduction for a new saint to our community. Additionally, Diane always had an unwavering commitment to diversity in all its forms and saw our own Episcopal identity as the perfect complement to this work. As Joan Holden noted, in the early years when independent schools were just beginning to understand the importance of multicultural issues, Diane was always at the forefront of these efforts. Certainly, Diane led this charge not only within the walls of our school community, but in the greater DC area as well. And her steadfast passion for this work is evident in all that she does. Along with Donna Ryan as its chair, Diane supported the school's multicultural committee, sponsoring workshops for our faculty and our students. She was a founding member of the Northern Virginia Diversity Coalition, a group of independent school admission directors who joined together to create and share diversity and recruitment efforts. Diane was also instrumental in bringing the National Coalition Building Institute, as well as the formation of GRASP with the Black Student Fund, to our school in the early 1990s. In her decades in admission, Diane has worked closely with countless diversity organizations, and most recently, she's very proud of partnering with the Emerging Scholars Program. To me, this has been Diane's life's work, and I know that we would not be the same school community that we are today without her commitment and guidance. For those who know Diane well, one of her greatest passions can be summed up in 2 words. Yes, the combinations of her favorite historical time periods, wild decorations, and always yummy food. Here are just a sampling of her themes: Crazy Cat Lady, Nuns on the Run, The Wild Wild West, and Is Martha Stewart Living? All these amazing events were created by Diane for her A-team to de-stress and to recharge after a tough admission season, to celebrate birthdays and personal milestones. From the decor to the food to the music and the games, each was a present from Diane. If there had been more room on the buttons you are wearing, I would have added the name Martha MacGyver, which is my nickname for Diane. A mashup of Martha Stewart and the TV character MacGyver. I truly believe that, like MacGyver, Diane can get out of any sticky situation by simply using a penknife and a roll of duct tape. Since the merger, it has always been a tradition that prior to the graduation ceremony, Diane would give out the flower bouquets to the senior girls and help pin the boutonnieres on the lapels of the boys. One year we ran out of bouquets. Diane literally leapt into action like MacGyver, taking one rose from each of the girls standing nearby to create a stunning new bouquet that would have made Martha Stewart proud. A warm sandy beach, tending to the lush green gardens surrounding her beautiful home, and preparing delicious food all give Diane the recharge she needs from her admission work. Many of you here today have been the recipients of one of Diane's floral creations, and her ability to craft these artworks make me believe that she was once a florist in another life. Roger Barbie, who wore many hats at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes, wrote, "When one received a present from Dee Dee, it was not a present rushed to be opened. A colorful paper was finished in a beautiful ribbon tied in a bow, usually of lace, and what that bow held was the real present. It was tied with flowers, herbs, or boxwoods from her flower garden. No recipient ever rushed untying a Dee Dee present because the packing was as good as the package. And everything Dee Dee did was like that, thoughtful, personal, a gift from her. As a mentor, Diane wanted all members of her team to succeed. Always open to suggestion, the care and nurturing of your team is what made us look forward to coming to school every day. You knew our strengths, and you buoyed them up for us to play to them, and you inspired us. To this day, it is your wisdom, which you have shared, that comes out of my own mouth when I talk to a family. Given the high pressure and stress that comes hand in hand with admission work, Diane used laughter and levity to be the pressure reducer, hence the theme parties, and encouraged us all to do the same. Diane, I thank you for your ability to let us be appropriately irreverent on occasion. Jean Baldwin, who was the director of lower school admission and is also a past parent, said, "Dee Dee was the best boss I ever had. She always brought out the best in her staff after going after their unique strengths and forgiving their weaknesses." When I reached out to Sue Fairchild, who was my admin assistant, for her reflection, she said, "I felt so lucky to be a part of the A team. Diane worked tirelessly, thoughtfully, and brilliantly, setting the example for the team to follow, and she treated families who visited St. Stephen's and St. Agnes as treasured guests. She is someone that I would follow into battle, because I know that if she was going, it would be for something noble, right, and good." If the words of our mission statement were ever set to music, the part that Diane would sing out loudest would be the line, "Goodness as well as knowledge." This is the part that speaks most to Diane and has guided her in her own mission here at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. I think it's fitting that Diane was one of the 30 people who met in April of 1990 to craft the current mission statement that so many of us treasure. John Coons, the director of upper school admissions, said, "During a time where loyalty is not valued or is not a given, Diane's unwavering loyalty to all things St. Stephen's and St. Agnes and to the profession of admission stands in many ways in direct contrast to the changing landscape swirling outside our community." With goodness as a major theme, Patty Lieblich, class of 1972, St. Agnes told me, "The most fulfilling part of my job as business manager for 14 years was working with Diane to ensure that students and their families could become a part and remain a part of our school community. Diane, with our mission as your guidepost, you have always, as you have often said, walked the walk and talked the talk." Diane, I must admit that I'm a tad bit jealous that you are beginning this stage of your life, as we have often joked that we would both leave at the same time and start our own business running a garden center or a flower shop. July 2nd, okay, come on, would you get on that? So to Diane's sons, Mike and Joe, thank you for giving us the chance to spend our work days with your mom. To Frank, thank you for sharing this amazing person who's been a colleague, a mentor, advisor, an advocate, a champion, and additionally for me, a big sister in our community. Diane, today is not goodbye. It's a we'll see you soon, because you will always be a part of this place. In your time as a saint, you have worked with thousands of parents and students, first educating and then guiding them through the world of independent schools. In doing so, you have altered the life paths of children who would be forever changed by their experiences at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. This comes from your kind and generous soul and exemplifies the importance you have always placed on fairness and inclusion. Due to your tireless work, our school looks and feels the way it does today. Dee Dee, we will miss you and know that you will always have our admiration, our thanks, and our love.
School in 1979. She has served as the girls' athletic director, head varsity field hockey coach, PE department chair, middle school PE teacher, and she's coached many middle and upper school sports. She has served as the Independent School League league director in many capacities, both as commissioner and treasurer. In 2006, Marsha retired from St. Stephen's and St. At the time, she felt the call to try something new, but soon found that her heart was still at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. What Marsha refers to as a failed retirement was for the rest of us a blessing. She returned to our community, giving us 12 more years of her talent, loyalty, and devotion to our students. During her years as a saint, Marsha has inspired countless students and colleagues. She has been a constant source of support and encouragement. She has been a coach on the field and in the hallways, inspiring those around her to be their best selves. Her colleague Tim Dodd said this: "Marsha is one of a handful of people in my life who never fails at an opportunity to give me a razz or poke some fun. During some of my longest days and hardest experiences over the past few years, Marsha not only gave me a reason to smile, but a reason to be humble and hungry as an educator and as a person. Her quick and unrelenting jokes were not only welcomely doled out at my expense, but they were also welcomely received back. Through these relationships, she knows how to have fun, but to keep herself and her peers honest as well. The quote of hers that will always stick out to me is her trademark: "When you think you're there, you ain't." This is not only a small token of her outlook on what it is to continuously improve, but what a lifelong learner and leader she is. Marsha has a career record of 514 wins, 86 losses, and 46 ties. She has 22 ISL championships. Let's get moving. Marsha has been twice named the Coach of the Year by the Washington Post. She's won 22 ISL championships and 4 state championships. In 2008, she was honored with the Wooten Award by the Washington Post. In the 2015, the ISL established the Marsha Way Leadership Way to Go Award. The award is given in Marsha's honor of her positive approach to coaching, her passion for athletics, and her dedication to her players, which serves as an enduring example for other coaches within the league. This award is given annually to one ISL varsity coach who exemplifies the qualities and leadership that Marsha so firmly believed in and demonstrated for over 25 years. Kate Mensner-Harshberger, class of 1995, shared this about Coach Way: "I can hear it now, mind over matter. Miss Way would yell it from the sideline as we ran wind sprints and field hockey practice. Mind over matter echoed in my head during tough games. Mind over matter was such a big theme of our 1994 season. A teammate had t-shirts made. I still have mine. Playing field hockey was such a big part of my experience at St. Stephen's and St. Agnes, and the fond memories I have of being on the field with my teammates and Miss Way is why I encourage my children to participate in team sports. Miss Way coached with a combination of kindness and toughness that was amazingly effective. We worked hard and we had so much fun. Mind over matter might have helped us dig deep to play harder, but what I really learned from Miss Way was the beauty of teamwork, togetherness, and an understanding and caring coach. Marsha, you are living, breathing proof that at the core of every saint is goodness, kindness, empathy, and loyalty. We are so grateful for your years of service to all of us. You will be deeply missed. I now invite Susie Wanamaker to speak on Marsha's behalf.
I'm doing this. Culmination of a lot of years. Tell me if I don't have this right. I'm honored to speak on behalf of this already legendary saint on the occasion of her retirement encore. Marsha's CV and stats are, needless to say, impressive. Decades of winning seasons, championships, and various prestigious coaching awards while at the saintly school, as she affectionately calls us. Her influence on those she has worked with all these years is profound, as you have heard from Tim and Kate and Kirsten's introduction, and probably from countless other students and colleagues. No doubt you have your own reasons to be grateful for Marsha's presence in your life. When Marsha asked me to speak for her, I promised to make this a roast because I knew she would be more comfortable being teased than listening to me extol her virtues. The problem is I'm not really very funny, and in speeches I am much more inclined toward pathos than humor. But I'll tell you a secret, Marsha. If you quit retiring, you can avoid all this public praise. My relationship with Marsha extends for over 39 years and has had many different facets. She has been my coach, my mentor, my children's coach and mentor, my colleague, and most importantly, my friend. Thank goodness she is retiring from teaching and coaching and not from friendship. Thus, I can focus my remarks today on how, starting in 1979, she formed the heart and soul of the girls' athletic program at St. Agnes, and later St. Stephen's and St. Agnes, and on how she has enriched the lives of thousands of saints. First, I would like to acknowledge Marsha's prowess as a coach, one whom Sleepy Thompson, another legendary Saints coach and athletic director, once called, quote, the best coach in the building. I think I can argue that she is the best coach on at least the East Coast. Everyone who knows Marsha knows she values excellence, and she demands it from her players. Many of us know her saying, if you're going to do something, do it right. But the excellence she values is above that of skill or ability. It is the excellence of character. Marsha values fairness, integrity, commitment, and perseverance. And through her own hard work and compassionate dedication, she inspires and ingrains these qualities in every girl she coaches. Her priorities are hard work, sportsmanship, teamwork, and good, honest competition. Consequently, playing on her teams was fun, no matter what your position or level. This is a little personal story. I will never forget the moment I realized that coaches like her are rare, and that I was extremely fortunate as an athlete to have been trained by her. I was a sophomore in college, a mediocre bench player for Princeton's field hockey team, and in a place where one expects excellence. At the conclusion of an away game in New York State, I came off the field in tears, overwhelmed by a crushing disappointment and sense of betrayal. The experience of playing in college should have been the pinnacle of my athletic career. Instead, it was a massive disappointment after playing for Marsha. And here I also want to offer a shout out to Kathy Jenkins, another tremendous coach and founding mother of women's athletics here. For me, playing for Princeton was a disappointment because the focus was all wrong. The feeling was all wrong. I longed for the intense but compassionate competition that brings people together rather than tears them apart, that values people over points, that brings out the best in all players, and that emphasizes the joy of the game. So I ran across an unfamiliar campus looking for a payphone, and with my MCI calling card, remember that? I phoned the Saints athletic department number. Thank God she answered. Marsha was my touchstone. I needed her to remind me how playing on a team should feel. Marsha gave me and thousands of other young women fortunate enough to have been coached by her the experience of hard work, teamwork, resilience, and most of all, the joy of the game. These lessons, needless to say, are life lessons and are reflected in how Marsha conducts herself off the field as well. So now a few words about her as a colleague and a mentor. Marsha holds herself to a very high standard, both personally and professionally. And she holds her friends and colleagues to a similar standard. Marsha is demanding. In fact, she can be downright tough. But she has our greatest respect because she is smart, fair, thoughtful, loyal, compassionate, and incredibly brave. brave enough to tackle the hardest jobs, the ones that many of us avoid, brave enough to stand up for what is right. She is a fighter for excellence, equality, and justice. We will miss this force for good in our school. And we will miss her signature technique for achieving it, humor. When she picked on me in high school, she told me that she teases the people she loves. All these years later, I can say for certain that she teases people because she cares about them enough to pay attention to them, to offer them perspective, to help them be better and ultimately happier people. Marsha uses humor to prod us to be our best, to run faster, meet the challenge, hold ourselves responsible, reconsider our assumptions, and make the world a better place. She teases us to keep us awake and honest. She teases us to remind us that we have important responsibilities as educators, mentors, and citizens. So finally, Marsha's humor, which so many of us have learned from and enjoyed, illustrates another one of her deeply held beliefs, that work can be fun, that hard work is joyful work. Thank you.
What a privilege it is to honor these three wonderful women who have dedicated their lives to St. Stephen's and St. Agnes and making us who we are as a school today. Thank you so much. We have a wonderful reception outside. The weather has held, so we will have a wonderful time celebrating, again, these three wonderful women. I think we should do one more round of applause to say thank you for this. Please join us outside.